Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the 100% Humboldt podcast with my new best friend, Brian Stevens.
Good afternoon.
Chief, right?
That's right.
I'm Chief Brian Stevens. Hey, Brian, good to have you.
Glad to be here.
All right. Eureka, California, PD Chief. Let me show everybody where Eureka is, just in case there's any confusion. It's in Humboldt County, which is in California, way up in north. And here's Eureka right here on the bay. Founded in 1854. I'm making that stuff up. Anyway, hey, Brian, welcome.
Thank you.
How'd you get to Humboldt? Tell me about your journey.
How did I get to Humboldt? Well, I was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
I served 5 years in the United States Army.
Wow.
I was in basic training, met a lady. Years have gone by, but before I got out, we got back together, got married.
Wow.
And when I was getting ready to get out of the military, I had an agreement. Whoever got a job first, that's where we're going to move.
Oh.
And she was from Humboldt, from the reservation down in Hoopa, and she knew a lot of people. And she interviewed on a Monday, or applied on a Monday, interviewed on a Tuesday, and was on a plane on a Wednesday. So
were you in the military together?
we went to basic training together. She was from the National Guard, so she came back to California, and then I did my full 5-year tour.
So did you guys move to Humboldt or up to Hoopa, both?
We moved to Hoopa first, and then into McKinleyville, and back down to Willow Creek.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful valley up there.
It is.
Yeah, summers are nice. Winters are probably less so, right?
It matters. Yeah. It can be beautiful, and it can be treacherous at the same time.
Guys have kids?
We do. Two. I have my son, Andrew, who's 24,
Wow.
and my daughter, McKenna, is 21.
Very nice. That's cool. Is either of them in law enforcement?
No.
Yeah. Are they going for it?
No.
It's like when I was a kid, my dad was in insurance in San Diego, and I said, man, that insurance, that's for chumps. My dad, how does he do that? I was so boring. And at 53, I became a State Farm agent, which is, as you know, it's been fun. Yeah. So you come out to our Humboldt Heroes stuff to recognize vets because you are one.
I do. And I've been lucky to be a recipient of that. And I think it's a great program. And I appreciate recognizing the veterans in our community. I apologize for not being there recently. It's been...
You've been busy.
Just hectic. So, yeah.
So what's been going on that's kept you so busy? You got promoted, right?
I did. I was promoted to Chief of Police on January 4th.
Congrats.
Which is the last step in my career, but it's also a very humbling accomplishment, and to be able to lead my people and take care of the city that I've been in now for 27, 28 years.
It's amazing. So congrats. That's great. You've earned it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I thought that would happen sooner because the other chief was gone. Was there an interim guy for a minute?
Yeah, so after Chief Watson, Chief Todd Jarvis was brought up from the San Diego area. He had retired as the second in command of the San Diego Police Department.
Oh, wow.
To serve as an interim chief for a period of time, which was about 2 years. And he retired now for his second time. And
wow. Does that mean 2 retirement? Does he get to double dip?
I don't think he's
probably not
quite invested enough in the PERS system. San Diego has their own retirement system as a city, and he didn't get enough time in the PERS system. So
where did you serve in the Army?
So I did my basic training at Fort McClellan, Alabama, and then got assigned to Fort Lee, Virginia.
Wow.
As a part of the 555th MP Company. And from there, I deployed to Haiti and for 40 days during when we went into their country to help with their occupation issue they were having, and then went to Panama for 4 months as a part of a normal rotation for military police to go there to protect those bases following up on Operation Just Cause. Wow.
So those are 2 conflicts that we had that were kind of within a couple of years of each other, right?
Panama was...
I don't remember which was first.
Yeah, Panama was first, and it was prior to me going in the military, but we still had a very large military contingency in Panama, protecting the canal, protecting the bases there and the communities. And then Haiti, that was in late 94. I went to Panama in 93 to 94, and then 94 we went to Haiti.
They say Haiti's pretty rough.
It was definitely a third world country, but it's had some very... very unique places, some very beautiful places when you get up into the mountains heading like toward the Dominican Republic. And there were a lot of good people there.
Yeah.
A lot of good people we met there. So
Nice.
and then I transferred to Fort Knox, Kentucky for my last 2 years of service.
Wow. So all MP duties?
Yes.
Gotcha. Good training for police work.
It was, because where I was born and raised in Kentucky, I applied at 18 for a law enforcement position. There was one opening, and there were 300 and some people that showed up to take the written test for that one opening. And
Wow.
I realized at that point, not only did I want to serve my country, but I needed to get something else under my belt to help,
Sure.
set me apart from the rest of the applicants. So
Build that resume.
yeah. Recruiting is not like that nowadays.
It's a little different.
It's a little different.
A little different.
Yeah.
A little different world. So, you started at EP. Was EPD your first policing job?
Yeah, I went to the academy, and while I was in the academy, applied with the Eureka Police Department and was hired about 2 months after I graduated from the academy.
Wow.
February 18th of 1999.
So is it about 27 years ago? Is that what you said?
It'll be 25. I've been in Humboldt 27
Okay.
years. Yeah.
Gosh, I'd love to hear some stories. But so, what were the earlier days like? The 90s, early 2000s, compared to say now?
Policing polices the community and the needs of the community at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So the needs of the community at that time were a lot different, and we had a lot different, or lack of a lot of different resources that we have now. So, enforcement was what we did.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have the outreach teams and things that we had now.
Right.
So we dealt with, a lot of the issues we deal with now with our care team, CSET team, where it's all dealt with by patrol through enforcement. Those quality of life type issues, drinking in public, those kind of things, trying to control behavior through enforcement.
Sure.
It's Eureka. It's been consistently busy. It's a small town with big town problems.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed over 20 years. The problems change a little bit. You see the influx of higher gang activity during periods over the last 25 years versus periods where you don't have that. You see higher rates of car thefts depending on, just whatever's going on in the criminal world at the time. Narcotics has always been an issue in Humboldt County.
Big deal up here, yeah.
But you see the transition too from marijuana, where even when I was at the task force, marijuana was something we enforced heavily. And now I sit on the safety committee that goes around and helps marijuana businesses get licensed by the city and the state and make sure they're safe for their employees and their customers and our community. So
things have shifted, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You really have to police to what the community and your city needs at the time.
Yeah.
So you have to be flexible.
Kind of begs the question, what's next in terms of the shift? But we'll get there in our conversations. So, so you're back in the camp days. You weren't working on camp, but the guys that came and enforced marijuana, campaign against marijuana cultivation.
Yeah, I never actually worked with the camp team, but I was assigned to the Humboldt County Drug Task Force for almost 4.5 years. And as a part of that, we focused more on the indoor grows, illegal grows, deep in the valleys, hidden from sight, diesel generators, those kind of large-scale operations.
So the illegal guys that came up and just destroyed the environment kind of guys?
Yes.
And gals?
Yeah.
Was that under Sheriff Downey?
He was the sheriff when I first started. Maybe he was the sheriff probably through my entire time when I was at the task force. The task force at the time was run by the Bureau of Narcotics Enforcement through DOJ. Okay. So they oversaw our task force, which was still a multi-agency team from the county, but it was overseen by a DOJ supervisor.
It really has shifted. So marijuana used to be grown. I was going to point on the map, but I just do this. Yeah. Still is. But it was enforced in pretty heavy ways with helicopters. I mean, I assume there was guns involved, and it was more hardcore enforcement, right? At the source.
Yes, there's it was a criminal enterprise. To many, it was a criminal enterprise, and from an enforcement standpoint, people are going to protect their enterprises, and that raises the safety issues surrounding law enforcement going in and trying to enforce laws in those areas. So the appropriate measures were taken to ensure the safety of the members of any team that was going in to do any type of enforcement. Right. Helicopters were often used just because distance traveled, be able to get into very rural areas, National Forest Service lands that would take hours to hike into. Right. You can fly the operators or the agents in. They can do their job. You can fly the product back out. So it just help with the efficiency of the operations to get in and out.
And it occurs to me, and I don't have a big pulse of this, but and then the enforcement in town had a history of some other shooting and officer related shooting at criminals, right? I mean, we don't. It doesn't seem like we have as much of that anymore. Is where I'm going with that.
Yeah, I mean, the enforcement's changed. The municipal code in the city of Eureka allows for a certain amount of square footage or plants to be grown. And with the legalization, you just don't see people trying to grow it themselves anymore. When you look at the cost to do what you could do for 6-12 plants and what the time and everything, what you're going to get out of it, where you can just drive down Broadway now and stop into a dispensary. You don't have to get out of your car.
Drive through, yeah.
Yeah. So
actually, they have delivery guys too, right? It's
yes,
like
they
DoorDash.
do. Yeah, DoorDash, marijuana.
Dope Dash.
Cannabis, sorry.
Yeah. So it's funny, cannabis, thank you. So I walk from my office down to the Bay to work out, and I think it must be 5 or 6 dispensaries that I go by. It's just
there's several in the old town area.
And I was realizing, true in Arcata, it's like I'm driving through Arcata going Simone Boulevard. I go, geez, I'm not even downtown yet, and here's 5. So I'm going, I guess, big, can of business. So don't want to get stuck on that one, but it is, it's interesting. So may I offer the question to say that has some of the enforcement issues of the crime that's related to Eureka, Humboldt County been related to the marijuana industry dating back to the 70s? Is there I always assume the true immigrants that come through town, got burned, got whatever, never left, stayed and lived on, whether on the streets or in crime or both, that there was an association. Am I drawing a fair conclusion, or is that part of it?
That is a very fair conclusion. So historically, in my time here in Humboldt County, you do see those folks that come from all over the world for the glory of working in the marijuana fields in Humboldt County, because it's well known for the marijuana business and trade. And that really hasn't changed as much, because we still have legal large-scale operations that need workers, so there's still people coming. I don't think we see as much of, not here locally in Eureka at least, as much of the people who have now been abandoned as a part of this process. Either they didn't get paid or now they're stuck in Humboldt County. We don't see that as often in the city. When I lived in Willow Creek, you would see that quite often. At the end of the season, and then they come back down. They're looking for rides, they're looking for ways out, they're looking for other work, and that transition of people just kept turning over every year. You wouldn't see the same people, and there's a huge crime element to that, in that there's sex abuse, sex crimes that occur, there's trafficking that occurs, people don't get paid. I'm sure there's unsolved homicides, people go missing. We see that in the news a lot. And a lot of that is the last thing they told a family member was, I'm going to go to Humboldt and work in a marijuana garden.
Never saw him again.
And that's it, yeah.
So it's not a totally uncommon story. It's not Murder Mountain. The whole thing's not Murder Mountain, but that's a real deal.
It happens.
People,
there's
go missing.
Yeah,
I noticed there's a missing guy right now. I saw him. Who knows? It could be mentally ill. It could be a variety of people, but there's probably a higher or an unusual percentage of folks that maybe are dead or missing that came here.
I think I think they've reported on that there are quite a few open cases of missing people that the last known location was in the Humboldt County area somewhere.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. It's not Disneyland. It ain't that great.
Well, it is a great community, and it's, you're at higher risk of something happening to you with who you associate with and what you associate with.
Sure.
Come to Eureka, go to college, start a business, retire here. You're not going to have the issues that if you come here and you work into a trade that potentially is, has some type of negative connotation behind it or illegal activity associated with it, then chances are goes up for you to be involved in some type of criminal behavior or dangerous behavior for yourself.
Sure. So, as chief, then what are you seeing now in terms of present challenges in Eureka and surrounding Humboldt County? What do you see? What do you want to focus on? Kind of what's your platform or coming in? What are you top three takeaways?
Yeah, that's tough. And I think it's tougher for me to come up with those type of takeaways or platforms to work off of because I've been a part of it for 25 years. So it's a
Right.
transition of positions. It's not a transition with coming into an area with
Yeah.
fresh ideas because
Priorities are still the same.
we've been working through these ideas together as a team for years.
Yeah.
So I think right now, some of our main issues we're having externally, obviously, is the houselessness, mental health. Our care team and our CSET team are working diligently to do that. We now have clinicians, case managers that work for the city of Eureka. That program is being expanded shortly, hopefully. So we'll have 24/7 coverage.
So they go out on patrol, or
they're available to patrol. So if we get onto a call that someone's in a mental health crisis or needs some assistance, then we can call and they'll respond to us.
Yeah.
And sometimes they can take over and we eliminate the need to have an officer or officers stay on scene. A lot of our community members have resources already in place and we don't know about that. So our resources would be potentially to put them on some type of mental health hold, take them to the hospital, which then creates this community issue because we have issues at the hospital with assaults and things. We have issues with nurses getting assaulted and the lack of beds and services there.
Yeah.
And then you or I break a leg and we're waiting in the lobby for a long time. So we are currently diverting about 90% of all mental health holds, all our calls away from going to SV, going to St. Joe's. So, and I think that's because the CSET team knows what the resources are. The care team is a resource to all of patrol. And once that's expanded to 24/7, I think we're going to see even better results for the city, our community members, but also the department, and be able to free up the short number of officers that we have to have better response times to other calls, deal with other issues. So that's exciting, and we're looking forward to that.
So CSET is LaFrance and his team.
So it's Sergeant Omi, John Omi now oversees that. Commander LaFrance is the commander who oversees all investigations, which does include CSET. So he sees it now from a command level. Sergeant Omi is the supervisor on the ground. We have one mental health officer on the team, one park ranger, and then one community service park ranger.
Is it the same thing? Is it the MIST officer?
That's what she's trained in. We just don't call it. She's technically the MIST officer, but but they're all trained with the same level of skill sets to deal with the community that they're most likely to run across, and they work together all the time on calls. So it's a team effort to do what they do.
So enforcement's shifted then. It's more, maybe a little bit more counseling, a little bit more.
It's resource-based. So we do all we can to notify, advise, put people into contact with things and resources and groups that may be able to assist them to change whatever environment that they're currently in. There still is a need for enforcement, and we've had to work through some court rulings and stuff that can't be the priority. There's got to be certain parameters set up around that. But with some of the more programs that we have coming with the village down on Hillficker, which is going to be one of Betty's villages down there now. There's going to be some new property that is going to have some other opportunities for some housing on it that should be done hopefully this summer. Short term, to get people immediately off the streets. So we're not talking long term housing, but to get them off the streets into an area. Once we can offer resources, have resources available, and know they're available, then the enforcement piece is still there for us to deal with those that just will not accept services. So over the years, we've found that there are your have-nots, your want-nots, and your can-nots. And it's the want-nots that are the ones who have that criminal element behind them, who maybe historically have been, there's generations of folks that have been living in our green belts and on the streets, who have had kids who were raised on there, who now are living that lifestyle. So certain people just will not take advantage of resources offered, and then you have to look at other avenues to change the behavior because it has a negative effect on the community.
It's a generational problem. Sheriff Downey shared a lot of that in Southern Humboldt. There's 2, 3, 4 generations of grow, farm, criminal, element that is, it's problematic. And it breeds stuff that isn't, it's aberrant. So enough said on that. So my question is, and this was always rumored, that other communities would bring their the criminal element to Eureka and drop them, give them a one-way bus ticket, give them a taxi, or get whatever, put them in a car, send them here. Is that ever corroborated? Did Pelican Bay prison ever bus gals down here?
I can't say that Pelican Bay ever intentionally bust people with a one-way ticket to Humboldt. So when you get out of, at least back in, I'll call it back in the day when I was on patrol, what we would see is that when people are released from Pelican Bay, they're given a bus ticket back to their city of arrest or whatever it is. However, Eureka was the first bus stop on that route. And if you've been in prison for any period of time,
you want to get out. You want
to take a chance to get off and get a Big Mac or whatever it is, right?
Yeah,
so we did see a lot of individuals who are recently out of prison get off here in Eureka, and then it doesn't take long if they don't show up to their parole office where they're supposed to report back to. Then now they're wanted, and so we would have to deal with that back, years ago, because the parole system, the rehabilitation system, has all changed, and what that looks like now. So it really is, there's another example of how policing's changed. I mean, we had, 300 and some parolees probably in Eureka at one time. And, they had certain restrictions that they can't carry a knife over 4 inches. They can't drink alcohol. And you find an individual on parole violating some of those things put in place for them. And it was an automatic 6 months to a year back in prison.
But not now.
Not now, no.
Yeah.
There's just that lack of accountability and deterrent.
Right.
For a lot of the criminal element that is still occurring.
Do we still have some of the same number of parolees in the 300s?
Scott, I don't know. I haven't. Not that many people get put on parole anymore.
Yeah.
So there's other, PRCS or just local probation, local jail time. So
Gotcha.
I have not looked at the numbers recently to see what that population looks like.
Gotcha. So, what are our issues then? Homelessness and mental illness. What else would you throw in there?
Fentanyl is huge.
Still a problem.
Yeah, we're having overdoses daily.
Wow.
I have lost track of how many times that officers have been administering Narcan, and it's just second nature now. They just take it with, we supply it with them. It's in their cars. They carry it on their person in case they're out in a green belt somewhere or on a trail. But yeah, we get called to, man down, person down calls, and so often they're some type of fentanyl overdose. Officers are doing CPR until medical arrives. It's just it's almost a daily occurrence.
So Narcan counters the fentanyl experience?
Yes.
Huh.
As long as, fentanyl is pretty strong, so it matters how much they've taken, how long their overdoses lasted. But yeah, usually 1 or 2 doses will start to get someone back out of.
Wow. That's got to be hard. I had a number of friends lose kids. It's really brutal. So let's go to Betty Chin for a second. So they're building a village down by on the bay behind Hillficker.
Yeah, down.
Is that fire training area?
It's at the very end of that. So between there and the wastewater treatment plant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be a temporary housing with.
Yeah, they're like assembled, like these dome houses that are being assembled down there.
Wow.
With all the utilities and everything, and Betty runs great programs and. Betty's programs are successful because they're managed,
right? And
there's guidelines.
And they have Betty, it's
a very powerful source.
She's to meet her, and I hadn't known her, and you hear about somebody, then you meet them, and you go, "Oh, you're pretty humble and pretty amazing." And she's won another award at the chamber dinner the other night, and you were there.
Yeah.
So, community resource agency of the year, whatever,
nonprofit community resource.
Yeah. And I guess it's a gal like her that could attract enough resources to build the village.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And the support behind it. And because of the way she manages everything and the success she's had in her programs, the community can get behind.
Yeah.
And the city can get behind programs she wants to institute because they've seen the positive outcome that comes from all of her pathway to paydays, all her activities she does there at her center just up from our police department, her kids program. It's just amazing.
So the one thing I see with her, she requires accountability.
Yes.
And that's a pretty big thing. The A word out there. It's like, we're all accountable.
Yeah. She'll go to the ends of the earth to help you until you cross her. Yeah.
And then you're done. Yeah. Well, that's accountability.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. So let's talk about you. When you're off duty, what's your preferred Humboldt day? What would you go do?
I've really gotten into golfing lately.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
I find it, it's frustrating some days for sure. But chasing
golf,
that little
yeah.
white ball around. But there's
Mhm.
so many times like, get off work and can go and put my earphones in and almost in Eureka, almost be by yourself some evenings on the golf course.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to be out catching some fresh air and
Play the Muni?
yeah, mostly play
I
the
haven't
Muni.
played the Muni in years. I heard it's nicer.
It
Right-
is.
Right now it's pretty wet, I bet.
It's very wet.
Because that thing floods like crazy.
They did a lot of mitigation for that, so it's not as bad as it used to be, but
Uh-huh.
you still can't get 6 inches of rain over 2 weeks.
Oh, no. That creek just floods out, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. No, my dad called it a sucker's game because you get one good shot at golf and you're going,
And you're in for the next one.
I'm going pro, man. I'm going on the senior tour, I swear.
Yeah.
And then and then it happens again and you're not that great. Remember ending at Beaupre on the 18th and, firing like a 20, 30-foot putt and going, this is the best game ever.
Sucked you back in for the next time.
Yeah, it's a sucker. Yeah, you're going to come back for the next one. Yeah, I like that idea of like headphones through, just maybe ear pods with just listening to some tunes.
Yeah,
And playing.
it's relaxing, whether you're walking or in a cart. I started walking more this year just because you can take your time and play later. You don't have to get back by the time and turn the cart in, so you get a little bit more of the evening.
Do you get to play Baywood yet?
I have a certificate to play with Baywood with one of my friends, and I'm looking forward to that. It'll be my first time.
It'll be great. You loved it. My dad said there's no course like that on the earth.
Wow.
It's, the redwoods and the roadies, and it's in bloom, and you go, where am I? And it's, Baywood's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. You're making me want to golf because I haven't golfed. I took a season off and didn't play that much anyway, but I got a new hybrid 4. So,
You got to try that one club, right?
yeah, the old guy club that you can't miss till you miss a lot. So a day of golf, what else where would you go to eat if you could eat anywhere?
Eat anywhere. I love like the Sea Grill, Larapin's.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good restaurants in Eureka. I deal with a lot of people who come to town, and some of our contractors come to town, and they're just always talking about, and they're from bigger cities, and they're like, you guys have some top of the line restaurants here. And
oh, yeah.
So
we have a friend that they're from Boise, where my daughter lives, and he came down here and stayed in Trinidad and ate at Larapin, and he goes, I'm telling you, man, the top restaurants in California, right there. You guys, you got it. We ate there, and it was amazing.
And there's good small restaurants. I love Sammy's and Paul's Live from New York. I go there often to get different meals, and just a lot of good opportunities here. A lot of great restaurants for great restaurant owners that just take good care of you.
Oh, yeah. No, there's a lot of good food in Eureka. So Leonardo DiCaprio's in town and all the guys, and I realize that was Arcata and that was Cutting, but are you guys ever involved in any Hollywood shoots that come to town? And
we were involved in like the permitting process, meeting with the site producers that were here, prepping for a lot of the activities they were doing, making sure we could handle anything they needed. We did supply some officers this last week, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because they were doing the big shoots at the Eureka High School gym and in the high school area out in Sequoia Park and that area. So they needed some help with that. And, we want the community to know that, most people know it's a movie set, but there were a lot of activities they were doing that could create calls for service if somebody didn't recognize what was going on.
What was happening, yeah.
So having a uniform presence there is always
Did you
helps
get to meet
ease.
Leo or anybody?
You know what? I stayed away from
Sean Penn?
Stayed away from the sets. I signed people to go do that, and it sounded like they had a good time, but I don't know how much they actually had any interactions with them.
Somebody said Leo was spotted up at the Carriage House in Arcata, and then Sean Penn was out at the shooting range. Whatever, I guess every different actor.
Yeah, and it's great that they take advantage of the community, and I saw Leonardo has spent some money in Old Town, was going around the businesses, taking pictures of people and buying some local goods.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's good for the community.
Our friends that own Dick Taylor, Adam Dick, said they were pretty sure he came in with a entourage. He's smart enough. He wears a mask. So he can't, really, who did you know behind the mask? No one, Leo. But he came in and bought some chocolate and had a couple of big guys with him and whatever and hung out. So you can tell we're from small town America. We're Or this doesn't happen often.
Yeah, and that's that was one of their concerns. Just that we're happy to be here. We want to bring great things and economy boost to the area, but we're the next big shining thing that's going on in Humboldt County right now. So it's going to draw some attention. So it's not LA where this is happening on every street corner and
it's every day. Yeah. No, it's funny because we got bigger issues and bigger fish to fry. So at the crack of around 9:15 this morning, I'm coming southbound on 101 around the bay. And here comes an entourage of CHP and other official vehicles. Any idea what that could have been? Literally about 12, 15 cars that were...
were there black SUVs in there?
Yes, sir.
That was the movie people.
Oh, did they get escorted?
No, well, yeah. So if there was,
funny.
So if they were still doing a shoot today, there was at least that many cars in their scene. So they had some black and white cars that look like patrol cars they were using, but they had 3 or 4 like all black Chevy Tahoes.
Yeah, that's what those were.
Yeah, and CHP is escorting them. So when they were probably doing a driving scene, so they could move the cars away from the front and back of them, so they can do what they need to do.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Yeah. I wonder what that was. I really never seen anything like that.
Yeah, and that looks like a video. Years. Yeah, I saw a video on one of the local sites that they were coming down off an on-ramp and it was like CHP car, then it was like all the movie cop cars and all the black SUVs and CHP cars in the back. So those guys
the officers create a space.
A safety space for them.
So these guys can do whatever.
Yeah. And they don't want other cars necessarily in the shoot. You know, you got a camera car and you don't want things around there that you can't control.
So paparazzi. Leo, what are you doing? So, yeah, no, that's, because it was literally probably 15 rigs.
Yeah, that sounds about right from what I saw.
Going on? So do you guys coordinate a lot with other police departments as well?
Yeah, we have a very good working relationship with the Sheriff's Department, CHP, all of them really. Anybody can call us at any given time. We know that with any agency up here and the same they know with us. If you need assistance with something, just pick up the phone.
So you guys are all dialed into one another on as needed basis.
We have monthly meetings with the law enforcement chiefs of Humboldt County. So once a month, the sheriff, all the chiefs, Forest Service, all the parks, Del Norte gets together and have a meeting, talk about issues we're having.
So rangers, people that would have law enforcement roles.
Yeah. So Coast Guard. So just to continually build that relationship of first responders and share ideas, share issues we're having.
SWAT team, of course.
Prep plant, yeah.
So so if you were to break down your responsibilities in terms of the department, what does that work? How does that work? So you got officers, you got your admin people and dispatchers. And
sure.
What kind of programs are within that?
Sure. So you have in our agency, we have a chief. We have 2 commanders. One commander oversees all the patrol operations. So that's all the black and white cars. That's all of our cops on the street.
Who's that, by the way?
Commander Wayne Rebang.
Okay.
And then Commander Leonard LaFrance is in charge of investigations and special teams. So he oversees CSET, our criminal investigations unit, our drug task force agent. So that's how the enforcement side of the house is broken down. We have a records manager that oversees our records division. I have a communications manager who oversees our communications center and all the dispatchers upstairs. We have...
Shout out to those guys.
Yeah, they're amazing.
To all of them, actually, but the dispatch people are pretty key, right?
Yeah,
they got to remain very calm.
We call them our guardian angels. So
that's good.
It's it's that calming voice in your ear when you're having your worst time, whether it's you're calling in something or you're working on the street. Either way, so
I can't imagine the adrenaline hit. And so 2 commanding officers or commanders, and then you got your. So what's under those guys? So
we have sergeants that oversee the patrol operations or special teams. And then we have field training officers on the patrol side. So they train all our new hires, but they're also can stand in for the position of a watch commander or a sergeant if they're absent.
Yeah.
So that's the patrol division, animal control, community service officers, our evidence tech falls under our criminal investigations unit.
How about Larry Henderson? What does he do?
Larry is a part-time property technician up in our property room. So we have a property coordinator, one full-time property tech, and then Larry who helps out up there on a part-time basis.
Good friend of ours. Yeah, I hadn't seen him in months. He came by the office yesterday.
Yeah, he's been a godsend. He's just a great guy. He's done a lot of great work for us.
Yeah, and smart, and he's just a good man. So how many people are you over then?
I think we're allocated for about 78.
Wow.
we're nowhere near that, but we're probably somewhere in the mid 60s.
So you're hiring right now?
Constantly, yeah. So we just did recruitment for our police recruit position. We have 26 applications for that. So we're starting through the oral board process, and then we'll move people into backgrounds, hoping to get 5 into the next police academy in July.
Nice.
We're getting ready to open up our communications dispatcher position again. So all levels for either recruit or lateral or entry level. We have a couple openings probably coming up by this summer in there. So we want to be able to get an eligibility list for that. We have some openings in community service officers.
Wow.
Have a budget analyst that will be flying very soon, which is a very important role in the department, reports to the chief, but is responsible for a lot of our bill paying, grants, our budgetary issues, anything like that.
Money's pretty important.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So we're looking for a highly qualified person for that position.
So how do you guys primarily hire? So shout out if you guys, anybody out there wants to apply.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. How do you, obviously online?
Yeah, so our human resources department will do the announcement. They'll share the announcement through sites that they have. And then we create often flyers for each position as they relate personally to us in our department. And we use social media a lot to advertise those. Police agencies, police academies, we'll send them flyers.
Gotcha.
We have a couple of their officers, a commander and an officer is going to be going on a recruitment trip. So they'll be going to Siskiyou on the 5th, and they're going down to Santa Rosa, Sacramento, primarily looking for dispatchers and new officers that are already in the academy that we could hire upon graduation in June.
Wow.
And then we'll be doing Cal Poly's having a job fair on, I want to say, the 15th of February.
Yeah.
So we'll be up there looking for some of our professional staff position, our budget analyst,
Sure.
our record specialists that we have. So up there advertising those positions, and actually any position.
Yeah.
But we believe there's some high quality people coming out of Cal Poly that we'd really be interested in taking a look at.
You guys have a lot of local staff, right? They're local, like Omi and different ones that are from
born, a lot of people are Humboldt born and raised for sure.
100% Humboldt, you might say.
That's a great way to put it.
Which is right over in this area. So, no, I like that. And I have, so what's the age that you could go to police academy?
So I believe the academy, you can go to the academy on your own at the age of 18, because most academies have gone to a college curriculum. However, you can't be hired in the state of California as a peace officer until you're 21.
Got to be 21.
So, we would prefer that candidates looking to come into the profession would either knock out a couple years of college, which is important, and then look at going to the academy when they get closer to 21. Or looking at other positions within the department at 18, that then we can bring you in, train you on those positions, integrate you into the department, give you a great foundation. So when you do decide to make the switch to peace officer and you get ready to go to the academy, you're coming in with a wealth of information and confidence that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah,
and
you already know what's going on.
So we can help set you up for success. We're hoping that we're building loyalty and dedication to the department because we're investing in you and your career goals and aspirations.
I like it.
So, so there's a couple different avenues to go.
So I have a 20-year-old who could bench 435, and say he had a propensity toward law enforcement. Do you guys... And all went well. Do you guys underwrite him at CR, at College of the Redwoods, for the academy?
Yeah, so as part of the recruit position, the applicants we know don't have experience. They need to go to the academy, and we hire them and send them to the academy. So upon successful completion of the background process, you're hired as a police recruit, and that way you're getting a wage. We understand a lot of people who have jobs and families, but they want to make a career change, and they can't just walk away from a salary for 6 months. So this allows them to have some funds coming in during the time while they're in the academy. We pay for all their uniforms, supplies, books, everything like that. And then upon successful completion and hiring, swearing in, then you're elevated to a first-level police officer at step 1. So that was an important tool the city allowed us to have because there were so many local people that we've been able to pull in who just couldn't walk away from a paycheck. And but they're dedicated, loyal, Humboldt County residents who want to be a part of their community. And we've got some great employees that way.
Yeah, I like that. I think that makes it transition easier. So you guys are out in the community a lot. So is it community-based policing? It has a name, right?
Yeah, I mean, community policing is kind of like the way policing is going right now. You got to really be involved. You got to understand the community you're policing. You got to be a part of the community.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you don't know what's going on. You can build walls between the police department and the community, and that's not what we want. We want to build avenues of communication. So I love the opportunity to be out at special events. The officers enjoy that overtime and assignments because they get a chance to interact with people who.
It's Saturday. It's Arts Alive, man. We're going to do this.
Arts Alive.
It's probably a preferred duty. I would think it'd be fun.
Yeah, most of the time, unless it's winter and it's raining sideways on a Saturday night and you're out on foot patrol. But
you're drinking coffee.
Yeah, but in the summers here in Eureka have been great lately with the Thursday night concerts, the Friday night markets. Then you have Saturday night Arts Alives and some of the other special events that draw people from around the world to Humboldt, to Eureka, and it's just great to be out there. People enjoy seeing us. They enjoy the safe atmosphere that
I think it's great.
The presence feels without feeling like there's a presence because it's just we're there. We're there standing on the corner having a conversation, and you're available and approachable because you're just open at that point to.
Seems like it checks a lot of boxes, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And it helps me from a leadership standpoint get a feel for the community. People talk about stats all the time. And, stats can be manipulated. And so it may look like on whoever did them that crime's up, crime's down. But stats never really engulf how does your community feel. Yeah. And that's where the conversations come in. So
there's the momentum right now in the community.
Yeah. So I like to hear how
good one.
People feel about if they're safe, how they feel about the events. When you have people thank you for just being there because they feel better. Yeah. That's important. And it's important knowledge to bring back to share with the other officers. And we make adjustments that way too. If we're not meeting the needs and people are bringing that up, then it gives me the opportunity to make adjustments to how we're approaching events. And
we saw a guy at, I think it was a Friday night market. It's one of the last ones in October. And it was a taco wagon or burritos or something. Anyway, a customer grabbed the tip jar and he hightailed it down the alley and this guy got him. And I thought they were going to rain blows at his head. He didn't. He was restrained. He took his money back and, screamed at him a few times and he might have shoved him, which was probably he got off easy. But, there was some self-policing going on there,
Yeah.
Here's a poor guy working for nothing and you're stealing his tip jar. Come on, man.
Yeah. And we had that a couple of times this summer down at Living the Dream Ice Cream, got their tip jar stolen a couple of times. We were finally able to catch the guy, but yeah, it's unfortunate. And, you want it from a police standpoint, you want to get thieving is just, it's one of the, it just gets under your skin. It's like people especially like you're saying, people at the Friday night markets who are not making a ton of money at those events.
They're already broke.
Yeah. And they're out there every weekend working or, the kids working at the ice cream shop or coffee shop, trying to make extra money and the tip money helps them out and somebody comes and takes it. It's like, these are just hardworking people trying to get by, and and we understand there are people down on their luck, but stealing's not the way to go.
It's an extra special crime. Not sure what's fit. I remember we were in El Dorado Hills, and some kids had spun out and made a bunch of gravel and dust on the highway, and it was obvious, and we drove by, and this CHP had them with their jackets sweeping the crap back on the gravel back off the road. And I go, that was instant justice. I like that.
They'll remember that.
Yeah, let's get that corrected right now.
Yeah, more than a ticket.
So. Yeah, no, I love the fact that you guys are out there. So the evening events, you guys are probably pretty prominent, and I want to say Starbucks. That's probably not necessarily true, but you guys hang out, walk businesses in Old Town and all, right?
Yeah, during the events for sure.
Is there an Old Town officer still there in that outpost?
There isn't right now, just due to staffing. That's one of the positions we pulled back. Fortunate for us, our CSAT team does a lot of work in the Old Town area, so they're able to address some of the concerns and have the flexibility because they're a proactive unit that we can ask them to do certain things to help out when issues arise.
Sure.
But yeah, that's not been there for a couple of years now. And, as staffing increases, obviously there are plans for how do we go back to addressing some of the needs of our community and appropriately utilizing our personnel to get the most bang for the buck.
Do you guys walk the mall at all at Bayshore Mall?
Officers will go out on foot there. Target, they go out on foot quite a bit at Target. We spend a lot of time at
A lot of shoplifting there.
a lot of shoplifting, a lot of merchandise.
Heard that at Walmart as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then again, we're right back to changes in the law, lack of accountability.
Right. Well, we got a guy that works for us that works at Safeway in Arcata, and they have shoplifters, and they're not allowed to confront them.
Yeah.
They could just walk out the door with a steak.
Yeah, the liability is high for some of these businesses that they're worried about that, and it affects you and I.
Yeah,
because they have to make up that loss somehow, and that's they raise prices. So.
Yeah, we have law enforcement, so I could only envision the lawlessness that would ensue if there was less or none.
Yeah,
it'd just be a revolution and chaos. And so, thanks for what you guys do.
Thank you.
Thanks for keeping the chaos at bay. And the anarchy too.
Managing the chaos.
Yeah. So let's say I'm a new guy and I'm coming to town and hey, Brian, and in or out of uniform, what are some of the hidden gems that you really like in this area in Eureka? What if you were, whether it's food or sites or hey, I'm a local and I'm just taking a staycation. What are some of the things that you've seen, outdoor, indoor, that are maybe the hidden gems, the secret spots? I mean, the Muni golf course. Hey, it's a Muni, man, but it's a nice one.
It is. It really is.
What else comes to your mind?
I've had the opportunity to do some hiking on some of the waterfront trail, but on portions I've not, I've patrolled and back before the trail was even there, everything behind the mall and the green belts and that kind of area.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to walk it now and drive it with our gators when we're out just patrolling.
Because that was
to see how far it came.
It was a village at one time. Yeah.
Yeah. If you go back and look at that video online of the last 300 camps that we had and what that looked like compared to when you walk it now, and nature and the environment regaining control of that area in a lot of ways. It's just amazing, that transformation. But, I walked the new part of the trail from the foot-a-pound road down to the next exit there at Humboldt Hill.
Is that King Salmon or what? That's Humboldt Hill.
Yeah, To Be Ranch, the To Be Ranch parking lot down there.
Is that down by the PG&E?
It's just before that. So you would get off at Humboldt Hill.
It's the new stretch at the south end of town. Yeah.
And all that restoration work that the city done in that area out there, it's interesting, it's calming, and the people you meet out there walking, it's just nice to have those interactions. And, there's some refuges just south of Eureka, where you're walking out right on the bay and the wildlife. And
you think maybe Hookton Road out that way?
Yeah, out that way.
Yeah.
So there's just some beautiful areas like that our lives in society is so chaotic anymore that to find time to get away just to catch your breath and take in the environment that we live in. We're very fortunate. I mean, it's just,
oh boy.
People ask you all the time, I've traveled a lot, what's the most beautiful state park or national park you've been to, and Yosemite for me is probably one of the most intriguing, just awe-inspiring places. But it's like, the Grand Canyon is pretty cool too. But if you live near the Grand Canyon, it's just a hole in the ground and a bunch of rocks.
Right.
And you live in Humboldt County, and it's like, we have the ocean, we have redwood trees. We take it for granted every now and then.
It's true.
But you see these cruise ships coming in and talk to the people who are visiting Humboldt for the first time.
Big.
Yeah, they're traveling from all over the world to come see a redwood tree.
Yeah.
And so, stepping back and not taking for granted the beauty and the awe that we have here. And it's just, because someday, may not be here no more. I may not be here no more. We may move, and just so I don't forget it, So you take the opportunities to make those memories. And
I like that. That trail system is really nice. I like that. I think of the Skywalk at at Sequoia Park.
Yeah.
They had that lit the other night. It was really amazing.
Yeah. The zoo. The fact we have a zoo in our city that, and we see so many of our, the city has given a benefit to city employees for free zoo memberships. And I see online all the time family members from our department just take the day and go through with their kids. It's like a thing they do, and have them run off their energy and stuff. But it's just, and you see the enjoyment they get out of it. It's just a great benefit, but it's just a great opportunity for this community to have that.
Redding doesn't have a zoo.
No.
It's like, there's a lot of, I don't think Chico has a zoo. SAC has a zoo. It'd be interesting to see how many, I'll Google that real quick. No. How many zoos are in cities in California? But I bet it's under 100 easy,
Oh,
probably under
yeah.
50.
I would say so.
Yeah. Huh. Thank you, Mr. Arkley, by the way, just for the record, and the zoo,
And the Zoo
whole
Foundation and all the hard
foundation,
work that goes into
Jeff Lamry,
maintaining it.
and and Mike from Wells Fargo. I mean, just Michael Dearden. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not easy to keep it accredited, and
Yeah.
keep it up and running. So they do great work.
Yeah. The animals require a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the zoo, the trail. What else? What are their hidden gems? The top secret takeaway. I'm all about bagels. I think I mean, they're in 4 places, but the bagel store is great.
Yeah. I mean, the coffee, the specialty coffee and chocolate. I mean, that's just, you always stop by those places. They're just when people come to town and, yeah. And you know what? I mean, if you're someone who enjoys beverages, I mean, you have the places like the Carter House that has just an amazing bar, and Mark does a great job with the hospitality and the people he hires there. There's a great bartender there who is just a wealth of information and lively. And it's just, I go there just to hang out with him sometimes and have conversations. And
he's a really interesting guy.
We become good friends. So,
funny you'd say that. That's, I don't like to admit that I'd ever had a martini, but that's where Joni and I like to go. And occasionally Mark will be there, or General Carl Adams, or any number of locals, but it's kind of the undiscovered gem.
Yeah, it really is.
If you called one out, the food's delicious, the vibe is really nice, never overly crowded.
Yeah, and the accommodations there, if you want a staycation, like you said, and you want a nice place to go and stay and have dinner or drink and not have to worry about anything. It's
Take a walk on the bay.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful spot.
Go get a $3 taco at Umberto's or whatever that one is next door. So, yeah, no, I think there's a lot of really neat things that, I think just the neighborhoods like behind behind the Eureka Inn all the way back 10 blocks, just walking those neighborhoods are remarkable architecture.
Yeah, that's interesting because we live in such a fast-moving society. You often miss the little things, and I always notice it when we do like the Rotary Parade in April. We walk 7th and we take off and go up H Street.
Yeah,
but we're walking and parade walk, right? You go and you stop for 5 minutes because somebody's car is overheating. Yeah, whatever.
Hey,
you get a chance to look at these homes and some of the detail and the effort people put into their yards.
Oh my gosh.
And you miss that when you're just commuting. Yeah. You're driving to and from. You have purpose.
I got to get to In-N-Out Burger. I got to go. I got to go. No, I think you hit on something, though, and that is the therapy walk. Get out, put your shoes on, get out from behind the computer and go get some fresh air, man. 10, 15 minutes, not going to kill you.
It does great for your mind. And
such a reset, man. And I think we're so buried in the screen. It's like we just do ourselves a disservice. We think we're being productive, and it's nothing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I really like that. And Don Brown, who was a State Farm agent for Fortuna before he died, I got to hang out with him, and I came down and quick story. I've told this before, but I got to his office. I got my sport coat on. I'm looking good, man. And he goes, "Get in the car. We're going kayaking." I got some shorts and some sand. Get going. And I suited up and we went out to Hookton Slough. And he said, "Whatever you do, don't miss out on Humboldt County. Because you live in God's country. You got to go out and experience it." And we did it on the water, which is even more fun.
Yeah,
to see Eureka from here's one Matticat.
Oh, the Matticat.
Ride the Matticat, man. The oldest running boat in California, right?
Yeah, and the smallest operating bar too.
That's right. It's got a bar. That and the Carter.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark. That's a great way to see Eureka.
Yeah.
And it ain't that expensive. It's probably under $20, right?
You get a little history lesson along the way.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different view too. Yeah. You're always looking out at the water, look back at the city,
Yeah.
We often would drive over to Willie Island first thing in the morning, working graveyards to watch the sun come up, but look back to Eureka.
That's kind of neat. Yeah, I like that.
You forget where you are, after working all night and everything you've seen, and you get to watch the city come alive as the sun comes up and people start moving around. It's it's kind of nice. Yeah,
you get there that early and you see the early birds coming out and the actual literal early birds. Yeah, I like that. It's because you could see the mountains behind it and Nealon and all. Yeah, I like that. Well, I'd like to ask you about your legacy. What would you like to leave behind here in Eureka at Humboldt? What would you like to be known for? What does it say in your gravestone?
I've often told people that whether it's my retirement or my funeral, that if one person stands up and says he did it right,
Nice.
then all the injuries, all the scars, all the demons
will be made right.
It will have been worth it. Yeah.
Nice.
So, and how do you get there? You do. My goal is to take care of my people, and they're taking care of the city. So the better I can take care of the employees that I have, their families,
I love it.
The better off they are to take care of our community. And so, yeah, they're my priority.
Yeah,
they really are.
I call that serving the servants.
Yeah,
it's a special blessing to be able to help people that are busy on the front lines helping people.
Yeah,
because that's. I don't know if it's foot washing, that would be a Bible reference, but it works. To help those guys and gals who come back probably banged up a little bit from time to time.
Always, yeah. I mean, it's a lot actually.
Yeah.
And we started a new wellness program about 2.5 years ago now. We just signed a 3-year contract, but it's one that is robust. It's got a culturally competent wellness manager and clinician. It actually has expanded to almost the entire county now, has contracts with the service, and they've actually opened an office up here. Great. And I have seen the benefits to our employees immediately, whether we have a critical incident and we're able to debrief it sooner because we have the resources up here, or just the services that our contract provides them to have access to clinicians. And the stereotype in law enforcement about mental health, and if I need help, then they're going to think I'm weak, or they're going to take my gun away, or that's gone in our department and across the board in Humboldt County. Pretty much, we want you to be healthy, and it's not just about the job; it's about your future. Yeah. And I don't want to have to retire people out because of things they've seen. And if unfortunately we do have someone who suffers from so much trauma that they can't work anymore, I want to make sure they're healthy enough to be a good father, be a good husband, a wife. So
good for you guys.
It's that surrounding them with the care they need to do the great work that they do day in and day out. So
sounds like family to me, team.
That's what we're working for. Yeah. It's a constant strive, it's a constant goal to try to reach and get that feeling. But
there's one of the top 3 takeaway.
Yeah.
It's 100%, it's all about that.
Yeah.
I love that a lot. And, that self-care and being able to care for other people. So last question, what did Nick and I do to help BPD? What does that look like for the average citizen? What's a couple things that we could do to support y'all, be a blessing, be a part of the team, be, making this place a better place?
Education is key and knowledge is key. So if you have issues and concerns, please let me know. I can't fix what I don't know. I can't help mold or change what needs to be changed if I don't know what direction it needs to be going in, because I'm not getting the feedback. So if you have, if you have an incident and you think it could have been handled better, or you think that they did a great job, that communication back to the department is key. So I can answer for that, and I can share that. For the employees, if you get a chance and you see them out in a non kind of enforcement way. So, it's not like they just pulled you over or anything like that. I get that.
Sure.
But if you get the opportunity to say thank you, that goes so far.
That's cool.
That goes so far.
Yeah.
And they may be having the worst day of their week, but if a community member who really does appreciate what they do day in and out, all of a sudden just
make your day,
just says, "Hey, sorry to bother you. I just want to say thanks for what you do. We appreciate you."
Wow.
That can reset somebody's mission on why they do what they do and why they sacrifice what they sacrifice. So that positive feedback for them is truly crucial to.
You see that with Humboldt heroes and veterans,
Yeah.
No one said thanks for a while. Just they didn't forget. They just there wasn't the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thank you. I love it. I could do that. That's doable. My dad used to say it doesn't cost anything to be kind. It's free.
Yeah.
You just got to be intentional with it. Well, hey, what a pleasure, Brian. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. It's been an enjoyable conversation.
Yeah, thank you. Any parting shots? Any shout outs? So if we want to get a hold of you, we could do that via the landline.
Yeah.
And you could they take messages, you respond, you're
Yeah, my assistant can get information to me if that. My
Okay.
email address, you can
Probably-
email me issues. It's all online. And
Okay.
yeah,
So this is a way to interface with the chief.
absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely.
I think that's everything.
And I will be as responsive as I can, but understand that just sometimes there's a little bit of delay. It's just depending on what it is and what's going on at the time. So
It's all about that. Yeah. What's the demand of the day?
yeah,
a week.
What's the fire I'm currently working on? But
I appreciate it. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you.
yeah, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
100% Humboldt. Thanks.